Would you please turn down the loudspeaker?
Sir?
Turn down the loudspeaker.
Turn down the loudspeaker?
Yes, we are conducting here a sound test.
This is a radio studio, sir, and I'm conducting a radio program, I thought.
It appears to me that, of course, a radio station would be the perfect place for a sound test, would it not?
What company are you with, sir?
I am with Sound International.
Sound International. Yes, your name is?
Pierre La Decibel.
Pierre La Decibel.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And
well, what is this test about? This is a radio station. I can't understand.
You see, the world is slowly going mad.
The world is going mad?
Because of sound.
Because of sound.
Yes. And I have been appointed by your president as well as my own to conduct a survey.
A survey?
To find out why people are subject to strange reactions from loud sounds and soft sounds and so on.
Well, I don't see anything in my memos of things to happen this afternoon where Pierre La Decibel and the Sound International shall invade my studio. I don't understand this, sir.
You are contributing to a very bad emotional state.
A bad emotional state? You're not helping either.
Have you heard your program?
I don't understand. What do you mean? People are going mad by sound?
People listen to too much noise, they go mad. The human ear can only stand so much noise.
I see.
And believe me, your program is so much noise.
Are there some sounds, Pierre, that are worse than others? Or?
Yes, I think there are. For example, you hear a sound, a phrase like, your mother-in-law is coming to dinner.
Yes.
That's a terrible sound.
Right.
You have undoubtedly heard the screeching of automobile horns, the screeching of tires when the automobile almost misses a pedestrian. You don't see that often, of course. Most of them are good drivers. They hit what they aim at.
Oh, Pierre, I'm game for almost anything on a Sunday.
Excuse me.
Very gamey, yeah. On a Sunday afternoon, but I can't really stop my show to have somebody make sound measurements.
I don't understand a person like you.
Sir?
It is people like you that are the cause of it all. You understand that? We are all being punished by these sounds.
I'm just doing a job.
May I say not too well either. Because you are penetrating the sound, don't you understand what you are doing to the brains of your fellow man?
Oh?
Oh. Shh. Please keep your voice down.
Very softly.
As you listen, that is the answer to all the world. There would be no problem if we all talked softly.
Talk very softly.
You understand? Even a no sounds pretty good in the UN if it's softly. You must talk softly. Otherwise, you are going to hurt everybody's ears.
Well, I don't... When did this problem with sounds come about, Pierre?
Well, when did you start in radio?
Well, that's beside the point,
No,
Pierre.
seriously, I have heard your program, and I couldn't help it, of course.
You're saying to me that certain sounds irritate the mind, the subconscious, to the point of maybe doing something catastrophic?
Oh, no question about it. No question about it. I know a bunch of men who ran out of a building and jumped into a vehicle and tore down the street simply because someone yelled fire. You see, the word affects you. It has what you call an emotional effect on you, and a person will react to that terribly. Everything, call of crime, murder, robbery, this sort of thing.
Is triggered by sound.
No, certainly. So is a bullet. No, but seriously, we are all here for a purpose. And I don't understand. Why don't you get another job? Seriously.
Well...
You don't have to make sound?
It would be a very weird-sounding radio station if I didn't.
That's exactly right. But nobody would get mad at you. You understand? No one would be angered or upset if we had no sound in the radio.
Oh, I don't know about that. There's a lot of advertisers that would become concerned.
Name one. No, seriously. You must. I mean, seriously, it is. Look at the number of people in this country today are suffering deep emotional crisis because of this. Our institutions, mental institutions, are filled with people who are there because of sound.
Pierre, my boss is going to get very concerned if I don't get on with the show here. I'm sorry, but I just can't buy this.
Let me try to explain a little more to you. I have told you about the sounds that irritate people. Mm-hmm. There are also sounds which are helpful and relieve tension and relax people.
Oh.
Words, for example. A simple word. Soft.
Yes.
Is that the word? Now, don't you feel better having heard that song?
Would you say that again?
Soft.
Would you say it again?
You're putting me on. Soft.
Well, Pierre, now you've shown us an example of the soothing sounds of words and their abilities. What inversely would be a word that would bring out the beast in us?
The word, for example, catastrophic.
Catastrophic?
Oh, of course, these whole nations could be affected by this at one time if the word is used wrong and too loud, you see.
Would you say it again?
Catastrophic.
Would you say it again?
Catastrophic.
Would you say it again?
Please, control yourself.
You're right. The word just had an effect on me.
Certainly it did. It will have an effect on anyone, even a person employed as you are. No, seriously.
So we should not use the word
catastrophic.
Catastrophic. That's very no. Yes. We should use instead
soft.
Well, Pierre, I wouldn't kick you out of the studio, but really we must get on with the show here. I'm in perfect sympathy with your purpose here, and I hope sincerely that you've completed your tests.
Well, we have not completed our tests because you will not get away from the microphone. I have simply tried desperately to get across to you what we are doing, but you insist on continuing your program. We have to bring equipment in here for the tests.
Well, how long would it take to get this equipment in here and do it?
I would think it would probably take several days to complete the test.
How many?
Several days to complete the test.
To the magic of radio, 6.5 days later.
Well, the tests are over. We have completed them.
Well, do we pass or not? You've been conducting these tests now for a week.
Actually, the tests are completed except for one final thing.
One final thing?
Yes. The last thing, of course, is to test the microphone. Which
my microphone here?
Yes, one? If you will move away from it.
Move away from this? Oh, okay, Pierre, but let's make it quick now.
Yes, I will. It is a microphone test.
I wouldn't want to. Hello. Oh, still. Is that it?
That is it. Yes.
What did you find out about the microphone?
That it's plugged in.
The following program, Day of Disaster, is one of my best radio productions. For you radio bug people, you might pay particular attention to my use of staging and background music, which I think adds tremendously to the dramatics of the piece. From 1974, here is Day of Disaster.
It's probably the most tragic day in history of Kentucky. It's just bad all over, and Stamping Ground was the latest problem. About an hour ago, I guess, that little community was just flattened.
Day of Disaster. A WHAS Radio News special. A sequential review of the April 3rd tornado destruction in Kentucky and southern Indiana. Here's Byron Crawford.
For most of us, tornadoes were only things that struck other people. That is, until April 3rd. Actually, the first disquieting thoughts to penetrate this false feeling of security occurred 2 days earlier, when on April 1st, a twister tore through the community of Campbellsburg, not far from Louisville, and within 20 seconds destroyed the downtown area.
There are piles of brick spread in all directions down here. A tin roof on the lumber yard looks like a giant has been at it with a can opener. And I think the best way to sum it up would say that the actual business portion of town and then a section or two of a residential street have sustained severe damage.
WHAS traffic tracker Dick Gilbert describing from 700 feet how Campbellsburg looked on April 2nd, unaware that in just 24 hours he himself would be in danger as he flew over Louisville watching a tornado rake the city's eastern section and destroy the street where he lived as a boy.
A tornado was reported near Hardinsburg and 3 miles northwest of Irvington at 3:45 this afternoon. The severe thunderstorm warning has been changed to a tornado warning for Metro Louisville and Jefferson County, including Meade, Hardin, and Bullitt counties, and the southern Indiana counties of Clark, Harrison, and Floyd. Also, Oldham County in Kentucky. All of those areas under a tornado warning until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Again, repeating, a tornado warning is in effect for Metro Louisville and Jefferson County.
At 4:02, the afternoon of April 3rd, CBS News was interrupted for the first tornado warning for metropolitan Louisville and for Brandenburg. Throughout the day, unusual weather systems had resulted in severe weather bulletins for most of the South and Midwest. Now, serious storm cells were near Louisville. The 4:02 tornado warning was repeated by Chuck Paddock at 4:08. At 4:15, WHAS News Director Glenn Baston called Chief Meteorologist John Burke at the Standiford Field Weather Station.
Since 3 this afternoon, we have a hook echo on the radar about 20 miles southwest of Louisville, moving northeast about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Now this storm will move through Jefferson County in a northeasterly direction, and reports have indicated up to this time that this is a tornado. We've had reports from Hardinsburg. They saw it there. We saw it at Irvington. It's headed in our direction. So generally, people should take precautions for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Looks like it'll blow right through Jefferson County, Glenn. I feel now that the way it's headed, it's going to track from about 240 degrees from the southwest to the airport. I just hesitate to say any specific areas of the county, but I just feel she's going to blow right across the county. Dave Reeves just handed me another report, 6 miles west-southwest of Brandenburg, close to Midway, a tornado near U.S. Highway 60. So there again.
John, we'll let you get back to the radar screen. Thank you much.
Okay, Glenn, you're welcome.
Jeff?
Okay, Glenn Baston, chatting with the chief meteorologist, is that what we'd call him? And John Burke, and bringing us as the complete update picture on the weather situation, and of course more as it happens right here on WHAS. Thank you, Glenn, and it's 4:18. All right, traffic tracker Gilbert, it's a wild afternoon.
Well, we do have a pretty wild and rugged weather picture on our hands here, so be prepared for it as you're driving. The pavements are wet now throughout the driving area. I haven't made it out to the extreme northeast corner yet, but the rest of the picture has wet pavements all the way, lightning and gusty winds, and sprinkles and bursts and gusts. The southwest, I couldn't get out in the extreme southwest on Dixie Highway and out in the Pleasure Ridge Park area. The weather looked a little bit suspicious out there. So you folks out there have to be on your own for a little bit. But the outer loop around the Kentucky Turnpike looked pretty good, and Preston is still doing a nice job. No delays over a block long at any of the lights there. Southbound on I-65, starting to slow down now at the horse barns, running a bit heavily out to the Waterson interchange. Drive carefully, Dick Gilbert, Skywatch 84.
A lot of people leaving their work now, getting into cars. And let me briefly review the weather situation. There are severe thunderstorm warnings for a good portion of this area, including Metro Louisville and southern Indiana. But more importantly now, we have a tornado warning which includes all of Metro Louisville and surrounding areas. This is a warning. It will be in effect until 5 o'clock tonight, so be on the lookout, be on guard. We reviewed the rules, suggestions for what you should do if you should spot a tornado. You might be a good idea to, keep a lookout. There have been numerous sightings in and around the area of tornadoes. Not trying to alarm anyone, but we want you to be aware of the situation and know that, should something happen, you can take cover. Now, we are told that tornadoes make a good deal of noise, so you'll probably hear one if if one is around. And like I said, keep an eye out for tornadoes, at least until 5 o'clock. We'll have updates until then from the Weather Bureau and Weather Service. Righty? Okay, we'll continue with music. From WHAS and Jeff Douglas, it's 4:25. This is Sammy Joe and Tell Me a Lie.
Tell me a lie. Say I look familiar, though I'm
Chuck Paddock, WHAS News. County police report a tornado sighted at Terry in Greenwood in the southwest section of Jefferson County. They say the tornado is moving in a path directly north. At this time, people in that area should take cover immediately. Again, Jefferson County Police report a tornado sighted at Terry in Greenwood in southwest Jefferson County. People should take cover at this time. Take a portable radio with you if you can and keep posted on the weather. We might, at this point, while we have this tornado sighted in Metro Louisville, go over some of the safety rules that you can take at this point to protect yourself from any damage. In a home, move to a basement if possible. The southwest corner is probably the safest, offers the greatest protection. In a factory, move to an interior section which offers the greatest protection. If you're in open country, as you might be in the southwest part of the county, move away from the tornado if you sight it at a path at right angles to the tornado. If there's no time to escape from the winds, lie flat in the nearest depression such as a ditch or ravine. Again, by Jefferson County Police, a tornado sighted Terry and Greenwood in southwest Jefferson County, just slightly west of Shively. It's moving toward the north. If you live in that area, be prepared to move to a place of safety right now. Take cover. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more information.
Okay, let's just do that one more time, where it was spotted, so that people won't, panic about it. Where was it?
It was sighted at Terry and Greenwood, which is in the southwest part of the county, and it's reportedly moving directly north at this time.
All righty, it's 4:28. We are trying to keep you up to date on all this weather information, and we will continue to do so until the situation is entirely past, okay? Let's see what it looks like from the air with our traffic tracker, Dick Gilbert.
Well, I'm out over Oxmoor Shopping Center now, the Waterson and Shelbyville Road, and checking out the eastern quadrant here. Flashes of lightning now and then, and there's light rain on the bubble. All of the pavements are wet. Traffic is very heavy, and it's slowed down significantly, as you might expect under these conditions. Let's see here. I don't actually physically see any tornado activity at the moment, but it does look highly suspicious down there beyond the Iroquois Park area and out in the southwest. So that appears to be the area that's affected at the moment. All in all, I know of no specific accidents and so forth. The wet pavements, strong gusty winds, I can certainly testify to those. So be extra careful, particularly on bridges and overpasses. Dick Gilbert, Skywatch 84.
Okay, let's cut in here. Chuck Paddock is here with a phone call. Chuck.
Okay, John Burke is on the phone, and he is about to leave the Weather Service. I understand you've got the tornado sighted there.
No, I don't see a tornado, but here comes the wind. We're hitting winds up the good gracious sakes alive.
How high is the wind speed at this time?
There's 50 right there. By golly, the whole thing's going. Here, I'm going. Goodbye.
Okay.
John Burke at the National Weather Service office at the airport. Apparently the tornado activity over there at this time. We'll be checking back as soon as he can get back into that area.
What did he mean by I'm going? It sounded almost like the wind was at the Weather Bureau. Is that what he meant?
John was telling me before we got on that he was going to have to get out of there quick.
Oh, I see.
And apparently he got out of there quicker than he wanted to. We've had tornado activity over southern Louisville at this time in the airport area, and I would suggest that you take cover immediately if you're in any of the factories or in any of the areas there, and primarily at this point the tornado activity is over the airport. That's in southern Louisville, and anybody in that area should take cover at this time. John Burke at the Weather Service reported a visual sighting of it, and he has taken cover at this time, and I think it would be wise if anybody in that area would move to an interior hallway of their home. If they have no basement, go to the basement immediately. Take a radio with you if you have one. And if you're in a factory, move to the strongest part of the factory, the most strong construction, and for all purposes, stay away from windows. Here's Jeff with the safety rules.
Let me see if I got this straight before you run off, Chuck. I apparently didn't understand you, and I don't want to, press the point, but I was a little confused. Was the fact that they were having difficult weather at the Weather Bureau itself?
Definitely. He said he had cited the high winds and that it was just a matter of a few moments before he felt there would be a tornado there, and apparently at this point there is a tornado at the airport. Perhaps Dick Gilbert could check in and tell us what he sees at this point.
Well, okay, Dick, if you're up there in Skywatch 84, what can you add? Well, apparently he might be on another frequency or something. Let me go over these rules here.
Okay, good. Maybe Dick will check back with us.
They are important. Seek inside shelter, preferably in a tornado cellar, basement, or steel-framed or reinforced concrete building of substantial construction. Stay away from windows. In homes, the corner of the basement toward the tornado, usually the southwest corner, generally offers the greatest safety. People in houses without basements will receive some protection by taking cover under furniture, such as a table against inside walls. Now, in office buildings, stand in an interior hallway or lower floor, preferably in the basement. In schools, go to basement if available. If there is no basement but building is of reinforced construction, stay inside away from windows whenever possible. Go to interior hallway on the lowest floor. Avoid auditoriums and gymnasiums with large, poorly supported roofs. And finally, in open country, move away from the tornado's path at a right angle. If there is no time to escape, lie flat in the nearest depression, such as a ditch or a ravine. It's 4:40. Bob Johnson has joined us. Bob?
Jeff, the city police say that a tornado is moving across the southern part of the city. It was spotted near the fairgrounds, moving from the south generally toward the north. They say that it has touched down near the fairgrounds and apparently damaged Freedom Hall. We don't have any more details at this time other than the fact that people in the Louisville area should take cover.
Let's see if we can contact our traffic tracker, Dick Gilbert, in Skywatch 84 for a report. Dick?
Yes.
Okay. Can you fill us in anything more on what you can see from your vantage point?
Well, it's a spectacular sight. The low clouds, very black low clouds. Let's see. At the moment, they're just about over Bowman Field out at the Taylorsville Road area, and it is swirling around, and it looks like smoke underneath it. There is no real tight, definitive tornado as such. It's still turning in a large... Yes, there's one now. Started, yes, dipping down from the bottom of the cloud, and let's see, that will be over in the Highlands, and probably along Bardstown Road and somewhere near Eastern Parkway is where I guess that one is. The power transformers have been blowing irregularly in the path of this thing, big large explosions of blue-white light that help to clock it pretty well. Now it's clearing up very nicely behind it. As a matter of fact, just south of Standiford, it's clear. I can see all of the hills. The Iroquois Park area is just about out of it now. But it is definitely moving up toward the Crescent Hill water tank now, and I'm starting to get some strong, very strong gusts way out here on Bardstown Road near the GE plant. That's the way it looks to me. Be very, very careful. Dick Gilbert, Skywatch 84.
Jeff, Dave Reeves of the Weather Service is on the phone. Dave, you've seen something.
Yes, we've been tracking this tornado on radar, and we just witnessed it past north of Standiford Field here. It was north of the fairgrounds. To us it appeared like it maybe went over the Executive Inn area, but I'm sure it was north of there. It was moving almost due east, and it was quite a black shaft, and you could see debris lifting up in the shaft. So anyone in eastern Jefferson County and the counties just east of Jefferson should, I would say, take cover at once if possible.
Dave, is there any indication that there is more than one tornado in the vicinity?
No. Once these echoes get right overhead on our radar, we just see one big spot, and it's quite difficult until they move out away from us, say 10 miles east of us, then we start picking them up again. But we didn't have any indication there would be more than one funnel. But it's not uncommon at all to have, 2 or 3 funnels. We did see this one touch down, and it was quite a swirl.
All right, David, I suppose that the rules for taking cover in tornadoes then should apply, and people should definitely, if they can, move out.
Definitely. If you're in eastern Jefferson County or the counties just east of Jefferson,
Very definitely. I would take some kind of shelter if I could find it.
All right. Thank you, Dave Reeves of the Weather Service. Jeff?
We've had these sightings, and Bob Johnson was in here with a report from the police about some of the activity that had happened out at Freedom Hall. There were some reports that there was some damage out there at the fairgrounds. We don't have much more on that story. We will. It's 4:44 on WHAS. We have sort of suspended our normal operations here as this tornado situation develops. We have News Director Glenn Baston here, and Glenn, what have we now?
Well, we've just talked with Freedom Hall, and they're still trying to assess the damage out there, I should say, at the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center. And according to an official, they really don't know what the damage is there. They do know that apparently one of the horse barns was damaged by these winds. They do not think at this time that Freedom Hall has been hurt. Let me emphasize, if I may, Jeff, that we will pass along all the information that is available from the Weather Service, from Dick Gilbert, from the police. Please do not tie up the phone lines of these agencies. If you have something to report, a specific item, please report it to the police, but don't call them or someone else to find out what's going on. Jeff?
Glenn, at this point, we have a report from City Police that the tornado is still rather strong and is moving into the St. Matthews area at this time.
Okay, Jeff has something new to add, I think.
Glenn, why don't you just come over here very informally? You can't do it on that line. I've got John Burke of the Weather Service on the line here, and we'll just make the right connections and we'll be...
All right. Yes, John.
Yeah, that storm, we could watch it come right in on the airport here, Glenn. There was no funnel in it until it actually got right to the airport. Then a funnel developed right in the parking lot north of the terminal building and moved on to the east. And it's moving eastward 45 to 50 miles per hour. So this was 10 minutes ago, so that's over in the eastern part of Jefferson County now, moving on eastward. However, Glenn, we do have another big storm down south of us, headed east, and it's headed in the direction of Mount Washington, another one about the same size. And so for the next hour or so, the Mount Washington area certainly should be on the alert for developments and take all proper precautions, like we were mentioning earlier.
Okay, now this cloud, this storm that is moving through Jefferson County, does it appear on your radar to be moving out of the heavily populated area?
Yes, it's over east of, I would say east of Bowman Field now, and moving on eastward at about 45 to 50 miles an hour. And as I say, when it went through here, it didn't have a funnel when it came in, but the funnel developed right here in the parking lot. And then it moved on the eastern. We could see it move on off to the east. And that's when I left the area before, because I was going to get out of there. I was right next to the window, and I was talking to Chuck, and I just thought it was time for me to leave.
I can't really say that I blame you. The Mount Washington storm, what does it appear right now to, does it appear to be another severe one?
Yes, another one, and on the intensity of the one we had, and it could very well contain a tornado also. So those people in that area to the south of Louisville, across through into the Mount Washington area there and on across in that direction, from Oklahoma on across through there. Just take precautions. I would certainly advise getting down in the basement with your portable radio and stay on top of the situation.
Did these two storms that you're talking about now appear to be the major ones that are developing at the moment?
Well, at the moment, yes. We've had development and dissipation throughout the afternoon. Storms build, and then after a while, they tend to dissipate once they use up all the energy available. I would imagine this storm that just passed through here has probably reached maximum, and then probably approaching a dissipating stage at this time. But nevertheless, in the east of Jefferson County, it should be on the alert for the next hour or so anyhow.
What did you estimate the winds in this particular one at?
We probably had a wind measurement here. Let me check just a moment. We got one on the ground at east.
Well, we're talking with John Burke, who is Chief Meteorologist for the Louisville National Weather Service.
Stand by just a moment, Glenn.
All right.
3-knot winds here at the airport, translated into miles per hour, a little over 80.
So we could well be counting up some damage before too long.
Sure, yeah. And Dave Reeves just mentioned another storm at on the ground at Elizabethtown. and just about as strong as the one we had here. And that one's also moving east-northeast about 45 miles an hour.
All right, so right now we have 3 storms active, one around Elizabethtown moving to the east-northeast, another one that is moving toward Mount Washington, and one just moving out of eastern Jefferson County.
Right.
Will this one in eastern Jefferson County, by chance, John, skip the river and go into southern Indiana?
The way it's headed now, it looks like it'll stay on this side of the river for a while, yet it isn't moving that much toward the northeast. I would think people, persons in Oldham and Trimble and Henry County, I hate to mention that term, Henry County, but nevertheless, those areas are in the path of this activity headed off to the east here.
Okay, John, why don't we just keep this line open if we might, and if you have something to add, you can really pick it up and we can get straight on the air.
Okay,
right.
You wanted us to hang on here then, huh?
All right, fine. Jeff, I think Chuck Paddock just walked in with probably some additional information from the police.
Well, the only thing we have at this point from the police is that they have sighted that tornado and that it is moving, they say, in the direction at this point of the St. Matthews area, and they warn people in the St. Matthews area to take cover at this time. They say the storm, from their indications, is still as strong as it was when it passed over the airports in southern Louisville.
Dick Gilbert in Skywatch 84, can you hear us?
Yes.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
I've been talking to the newsroom, Jeff. I'm right over the fairgrounds. First of all, let's talk about traffic. This tornado touched down right here at the horse barns on the North-South Expressway, and it has turned over several cars. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would say 8 automobiles have been blown across the road or turned over. There's an ambulance here working in the road. Traffic northbound is moving and trickling through here one at a time. Southbound, well, yes, the same thing, getting way over on the shoulder. Now, the wind damage hit the roof of Freedom Hall, and it tore 3 big holes in the roof. Then it moved over on the eastern end of the building and ripped off about a third of the roof here. The horse barns are no more. It totally wiped out the horse barns. All of the mobile homes and trailers behind the Freedom Hall have been completely torn up. And over by the, I think it's the Twilight Drive-In here, we've had about 4 trailers completely torn apart. There is fire equipment and emergency equipment in there. Now be very careful. On Crittenden Drive, I see more police cars and emergency equipment heading down toward the trailer park there that's just off the southwest corner. Apparently this is where the twister first touched down, and this really caused a problem. Avoid that north-south expressway. They can only get 1 or 2 cars through it at a time, and try and use some other route. That's the way it looks from up here. Dick Gilbert, Skywatch 84.
This is Chuck Paddock. Can you see the storm at this time from your viewpoint?
No longer, Chuck. The only dark area I see is, let's see, I would put that out beyond Indian Hills on the river heading toward, say, Harrods Creek at this moment. I'm looking back now the other direction, looking for this other one you mentioned at Elizabethtown, and it still looks clear down the river there past West Point. There is a gray area over toward Fort Knox. That's the way it looks now. We're in a kind of a clear area at the moment.
Okay, we'll be checking back with you in about 5 minutes, shortly after 5 o'clock.
Day of Disaster continues now. Here's Byron Crawford.
The first real indication of the scope of tornado damage in Louisville came at 5:12 with this graphic report from Dick Gilbert.
I want to summarize what I can see from up here. Apparently, as far as I could tell, the first touchdown was just north of Stanford Field at the Twilight Drive-In, and it started with the trailers. It moved across the fairgrounds. It flattened the horse barns. It went through the little community just north of Audubon Park. And then it went through the cemetery at Newburgh and Eastern Parkway, uprooting giant trees there. Newburgh is blocked completely by these trees, and houses are torn up by the trees falling into them. Then it came across Eastern Parkway and Bardstown Road. It went roaring through the Seneca Cherokee Park area, absolutely denuding a portion of that park. There's no trees left. There's nothing but splintered stumps in there for, I can't estimate how many acres are involved. Then it came right between Barrett Junior High School on Grinstead Drive and the Baptist Theological Seminary. It crossed Grinstead Drive right there, leaving this wide swath of total destruction. It came over Pennsylvania Avenue, well, let's come on up, Stilts and Frankfort, Pennsylvania, Hillcrest, right there at the Frankfort Avenue intersection. It's completely wiped out. Every house is damaged to some extent. Then it came across the Crescent Hill Golf Club, and I'm over Indian Hills right now, and I can't even begin to count. I would guess 200 homes out here have at least the second floor gone. Many of them are completely demolished, and most of them are, the walls are askew, the roof is sagging, and so forth. Trees have been chopped down all the way. Now I'm curving around and following the path of it. It seems to have turned a little bit then toward the east, and this is over the Zachary Taylor area, just north of Zachary Taylor Monument. It cut a swath through this area, again taking the roof and in many cases the second floor off the houses in this area, and then it crossed the Waterson near I-71. By the way, folks, traffic obviously is at a complete standstill in all of these areas that I've talked about. Trees, emergency equipment, everything. It just is not moving at all. Looking ahead here, I-71 is at a standstill. The Waterson is at a standstill here at the intersection, and now wait a minute, just beyond this point, I believe, I'm not sure because I'm still a mile away, but I think this is about the tail end of the worst damage here. This seems to be about where it started lifting and dissipating. So that's the path from Standiford Field up through Crescent Hill and out here into the Waterson and I-71 area. And I have seen some pretty bad stuff in my career in Iowa and Indiana, those areas. I don't believe I've seen anything to equal this.
The tornado warning is in effect until 6:30 for persons in Nelson, Anderson, Woodford, Franklin, Scott, Fayette, and Jessamine counties in Kentucky. At 5:16, as Louisville and southern Indiana began to survey tornado damage, more tornado warnings were coming in the direction of Frankfort. A tornado warning is in effect still for... While that new tornado warning was being repeated at 5:25, News Director Glenn Baston made contact with Governor Ford.
Glenn?
Yes, Governor. We're on the air live, sir.
Okay, it's pretty rough all over, and Louisville, of course, has been hit pretty hard. Judge Hollenbach has asked for the National Guardsman, and so has Mel Gentry, who is the acting mayor there. And we've already dispatched National Guardsmen to the fairgrounds, which has a unit's armory there, and the National Guardsmen out of St. Matthews have been called up, and we're sending a unit to Brandenburg, for instance, and up to Bedford and and Irvington area. So we're trying to prevent looting and that sort of thing if it should occur. I understand the weather's beginning to moderate some in Louisville, and hopefully we can get in there as fast as we can and assist those people in the best way we can. Our latest information is that all roads practically in and out of Louisville are clogged, and we just need the cooperation of the people there now to be calm and not get irritated. And there goes my phone again, and we'll just do the best we can in a bad situation.
Governor, I thank you. I know that phone's going to be ringing considerably. Again, thank you, and I won't take up any more of your time.
Glenn, we'll be glad to cooperate with you in any way. The helicopter report's been just wonderful, and we want to compliment everybody in Louisville for cooperating. We already have a command post up, I guess Tommy told you, at the fairgrounds, and we're doing everything we can. And under the circumstances, it seems like it's so little, but everything we have is at the people's disposal.
We have a little later update on that storm that was over Lebanon Junction earlier. Right now, radar shows that near Grafenberg, heading right for Frankfort. And that was the big one down around Lebanon Junction about a half an hour ago. And right now, at 5:30, it's right near Grafenberg, heading for Frankfort.
While concern mounted about other tornadoes present in Kentucky, information and official reaction regarding tornado damage began to pour in.
We have an important message here for all members of the Kentucky State Police who live in the Louisville area. They are to call the Elizabethtown post immediately.
The Madison Indiana Chief of Police has asked Governor Otis Bowen to mobilize the Indiana National Guard. That request came as tornadoes bounced across Indiana, causing at least 11 deaths.
I'm with Walter Frederick, who is town marshal of the town of Palmyra. And Mr. Frederick, what is the extent of damage that you've noticed so far?
Well, the extent that we see from here and around that I have seen already, it's a strip here that's about 1.5 miles wide and no telling how long as of yet. It is almost totally demolished.
What is the situation from your office, Judge Hollenbeck?
Glenn, the worst problem of the storm is concentrated in the eastern part of the county. We've called out the entire 24-hour patrol.
It's now 9 minutes before 6, and the effects of this storm we're still tabulating here at WHAS. We have been told that there was some problem at the water company's main pumping station in Crescent Hill. Now, on the line with us at the moment is the water company's chief engineer, Frank Campbell. Frank, would you update us, please?
All right. I'm at the Crescent Hill pumping station. We had a direct hit from the tornado. All power is out. We have not assessed the full range of damage. We presume that when we get power again, that we will be able to pump water. However, the present situation looks very dark. We do have water stored in our reservoir. Normally it is an 8-hour supply. We've asked for an all-points bulletin for all unnecessary uses of water to be stopped, and through this manner we hope to stretch this supply. Now, in addition to this, we are investigating the eastern county area where water is supplied by booster pressure, and we do not know what the situation there is, but supplies there will be even more limited than for the city of Louisville.
Are all of your areas in the city affected, Frank?
Well, all our telephone communications are out to our instruments, and so we don't know what the levels are.
We're well aware of extensive damage in Louisville and Jefferson County, and news people and authorities are out in force now trying to find out where the hardest hit areas were, and there will be help there sometime within the next few hours, we can assume. This is WHAS News. The time is 6 minutes.
We might point out to those of you who probably are tuning in, or some of you are tuning in to hear the world tonight. We are going to preempt that broadcast because of the weather situation in Kentuckiana, so that we can continue to update that information. John Burke is getting a briefing from his people right at the moment. He is on the line, and as soon as he gets the latest from all of the meteorologists that he has on duty out at the National Weather Service, we will get the latest from him. We have had here in the studio, they have had in the newsroom, and they have had at our switchboard here at WHAS numerous reports of a tremor in the south end. Now, what this is, whether or not it is some side effect of the winds or something of that nature, we don't know. It is, quite honestly, at this moment unexplained. But we are getting reports from the south end, the southern sections of Jefferson County, that they have had some sort of tremor. And for those of you who are located out there, as soon as we can track this down and get some explanation for it, we will give you that information. Well, something that we wish we did not have to report to you. Bob Johnson has just told us that there are at least 7 known dead in Kentucky as a result of the tornadoes, including 1 in Jefferson County. The death in Jefferson County reported from the city civil defense headquarters. We have no other details on that. The state police say that there are 2 known dead at Elizabethtown, 3 near Irvington and Meade County, another near Samuels and Nelson County. John, what's it look like now?
Well, Glenn, right now, radar is showing a well-developed storm down around Danville. Probably not as bad as the one that went through here. Nevertheless, it is a sizable storm, a dangerous storm. It's moving east-northeast to between 50 and 60 miles an hour. That would take it somewhere around the Richmond area, on over into the Madison County, Clark County, on over that area, the Richmond, Kentucky area. And the other one apparently moved near Frankfort. Whether or not it went across the city, we cannot say. It is east of Frankfurt now, 10 miles or so east of Frankfurt. Heading in the direction of Georgetown, Paris, in that direction, but certainly I'm not trying to indicate it's going to strike those towns, but in that general direction, so persons in those areas, that's east of Frankfurt, over in the Georgetown, Paris areas, on up into, that would be in Bourbon County, and on up into Harrison and Nicholas and Bath County. They're moving so rapidly, 50 or 60 miles an hour.
Fred Welch is on the line for me from Frankfurt. And Fred, I understand that you saw the storm when it passed through the Frankfurt area, and perhaps you can fill us in on what you saw there.
Well, I'll tell you, the way I saw it, of course, I saw it on the radar on television, and so I went up in the second story, and there's a door opens up, and so I looking out the door and spotting it, and as soon as I spotted over to the, I believe it's to the southwest a bit, I saw the turbulence, and I saw it snaking around there, and it passed, I judged around the interstate on the Kentucky River and came right along there and came through, let's say, southeast Frankfurt in the vicinity of the interstate intersection with US 60, more or less between 421 and 60, what the locality is known as Jet.
Was there much damage in that area, Fred?
Well, that's where the Ramada Inn is, and the industrial park. It half demolished the Taylor Tot factory. All telephone poles are down, trees are uprooted. There's a church, a Christian church out there. The roof is off. Of course, we couldn't go very far because of the traffic was tied up with the telephone poles and the trees and everything. But the way it looks, it took everything between, well, let's say, between US 421, which is a road to Lexington, and the interstate intersection.
Okay, thank you very much, Fred Welch. Here's Glenn Baston.
Right on.
Chuck, I hate to interrupt you, but we have been requested to ask all firemen and policemen in the Frankfurt area to report to work. The Civil Defense Headquarters in Frankfurt tells us that they need ambulances in the Frankfurt area badly. This is all firemen and policemen in the Frankfurt area. Please report to work. They also need ambulances badly, we are told by Civil Defense Headquarters in Frankfurt. Now, we were told by the acting mayor, Alderman Gentry, just a few minutes ago on another line, that they are having a considerable amount of trouble with people attempting to sightsee. Please do not go out onto the streets of Louisville. They need all of the room that they can to move these emergency vehicles around and to get in and out. Bud, I've got the live microphone. Bud Harbsmeyer just walked in again.
We've been requested by police in West Point, Kentucky, to ask sightseers to stay off the roads leading to Brandenburg, Kentucky. Brandenburg, Kentucky was hit by a tornado also, apparently quite a bit of damage there. Kentucky Road 1638 has been closed to all but emergency equipment. And once again, the police at West Point are turning back all sightseers.
Glenn Baston. Well, I have on the line right now, Byron, St. Louis University, the Department of Geology. When I merely introduced myself, you asked, did I feel the earthquake? What have we had?
You've had an earthquake of approximately magnitude 4.5 on the Richter scale. Our recordings of it so far indicate it occurred about 130 miles to the east of St. Louis, which would put it in southern Illinois, most likely. This is the largest earthquake in this area since the 1968 earthquake, November 9th. And we've had felt reports from the St. Louis area, Springfield, Illinois, and now Louisville, Kentucky also.
We have just gone through a tremendous afternoon here of severe weather. We have a considerable amount of damage. There could be no relation in these two, I'm sure. Would that be a correct assumption?
There would be no relation whatsoever to this.
It's just a little after 7. It's 1 after 7 on WHAS Louisville. Give Byron a chance to get something cold down his throat. It was very, very strange sitting here this afternoon, reading all of the reports, not really knowing what was going on, and then just like a shock, that first report from traffic tracker Dick Gilbert about what he saw. And having had a large, vast experience in covering things like this all over the country, Dick said that this was one of the, well, one of the worst he had ever seen.
Glenn, do you have something new?
Well, I have a report on what has been happening over in Frankfurt from a listener, Don Van. Don, our indications earlier was that Frankfurt has indeed been hard hit in some sections and that they needed all the assistance they could get. What is your view?
Yes, sir. The eastern portion of the city has been basically flat. That's in the Jet area. We lost service stations, several trailers overturned. There's roughly 17 people injured at this time. They're trying to dig out from under the debris. They have the area cordoned off, of course, so no one can get in. We were coming through, and they stated that they didn't know how many injuries they would have, but we have help from Shelbyville, Shelby County, Franklin County, Woodford, and a couple other areas, and with ambulances, and it's a steady stream to the hospital.
Okay. Don, thank you for the call from Frankfurt.
Okay, Glenn, Byron Crawford is here, and he was going to talk a little bit more about the curfew. But in all of this, talking about the curfew and the severe weather which is coming in, we did have the story a few minutes ago, and from our understanding it is accurate. At least 3 dead so far in the Louisville area, 14 dead across the state of Kentucky from tornadoes this afternoon so far. 2 of the dead were taken to General Hospital. 1 of the deaths reported in the St. Matthews area. Byron?
Chuck, I have some terribly grim news, and we always hesitate to put these figures on the air. But I've been in touch with authorities who are probably as close to the Brandenburg situation as you can be without actually being in the town of Brandenburg. And although the authorities caution me that they have not yet confirmed the figure, the unconfirmed figure of dead in Brandenburg is 22 persons.
Glenn Baston, you have some more information.
Well, I have Civil Defense Headquarters in Frankfurt on the line now. Mr. Arnett, you tell me that you can indeed confirm that tragedy in the Brandenburg area.
Yes, the tornado pretty much hit Brandenburg full scale. We have a confirmed 23 casualties at Brandenburg.
What time, do you have any idea what time this all happened? Was this prior to Louisville, or?
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, say it again.
Well, I'm just trying to get some idea of what actually happened down there. There was a tornado, but did it sweep through a residential section, or do you have that information?
And, okay, they were right in the path of the tornado, and it walked right through town and just went on out the other side. It happened to hit the residential and business district, which of course made it all the casualties.
Was this late afternoon that this occurred?
I'm trying to look here at a report when it hit. I've got a number here about 4:10.
Glenn, you please pick this up. This is a reporter from the Meade County Messenger in Brandenburg, and would like to fill us in on what has happened.
Hello.
Yes.
This is WHAS?
Yes, this is Jane Willis with the Meade County Messenger in Brandenburg,
Yes,
and I wondered
Jane.
if you all wanted any information
Please, we are on the air live now. Please give us all you have.
about it. Okay, it happened right at 4:10. That is the time our clock stopped. The downtown section where we live and work is pretty much demolished. 3 people were taken out dead from the downtown area. There were a large number that were injured, whether seriously or not. You know, we heard these reports of people being taken out on doors. It was true. That's what we had to carry them out on. The 24 figure that has been given by the state policemen, they have set up a morgue at the high school. One that we know was dead was Robert Dressel, who was a councilman at Muldrow, a city councilman. And he was killed in the downtown area. And he has been identified. There is at least 1 missing that we know of, missing. It's just terrible.
Jane, our reports from Civil Defense Headquarters used a figure, I think, 23. You are saying 24 plus 1 missing. Is that correct?
The state patrolman told me 24. And one of my friends said we can't find this friend's mother. And
what about the physical property of the town? What happened to that? What has it done to Brandenburg?
Well, it's in a shambles, an absolute shambles.
Glenn, we have an emergency call here from Frankfurt. Those people in Frankfurt were, of course, hard hit today, and they need drug supplies very badly, apparently drug supplies of all types.
It's 10 minutes of 10 from WHAS Louisville, Kentucky. We did have a bit of an earthquake in the Ohio Valley this afternoon. It was centered in southern Illinois. They also tell us that it was one of the larger earthquakes that we've had in some time. Milt, how about coming over here? I think that might solve our problem somewhat. You have been outside. I saw you walking in the front door. Have you seen any of the areas in town that have been hit?
No, I have just seen some extraordinary film footage that our photographers and reporters have done. And I have talked to as far away as Bloomington, where they've had some earth tremors there, but I have not seen it in person. Hello, this is Metz. Come in, please.
Yes.
You're on.
Mr. Metz?
You're right, sir.
Mr. Metz?
Yes.
Sir, my name is Leon Allman, and I live here in Louisville, right in Shively, and I've been hearing quite a bit about the devastation down in the Brandenburg area. And I know that a lot of people are like myself. There are a lot of small communities around Brandenburg, and no one is able to get a telephone call into these areas. As an example, Paynesville, Webster, Midway, little towns around Brandenburg that many of us in Louisville have relatives in those little towns around in that same county, and haven't heard any reports of it all. So if there's anyone that knows anything about what's happening, as an example, in Paynesville, in Meade County, and Webster, Meade County, if they would call in and let us know how those little towns are faring. Now, they're real close to Brandenburg, but we haven't heard anything. And we can't get any telephone calls down there, and they can't call us either. So, and I know I speak for quite a few people who in this area who do have friends and relatives in the little communities around Brandenburg. If some of them would call in, I think they'd be doing a service to your listeners.
Yes, and you have done a service to us, sir, by noting that, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Now, it's possible that someone may have been in that area if phone service is out, and when they get out of the area would be good enough to call us here at 585-2385 with news of those small communities. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night. This is Metz.
My name is Charlie Pickerel. I work at the Ford truck plant in the pre-delivery building. Along about 12 minutes to 5, a fellow from Dealers Transport asked me to come out and look and see what was going on in the sky, and I went out and looked towards the southwest. Here was this tornado coming down, and just as it touched down, you could see just sparks and everything coming far, and just explosions. I imagine it was a Crescent Hill Reservoir, and we watched this tornado for, I guess, maybe 4 or 5 minutes as it traveled up 42, just completely just tearing up everything. You could see roofs flying in the air and debris, and it would raise up from time to time, and in a period of 3 or 4 minutes, it just completely just disappeared.
A sensational, disturbing sight.
I never saw anything like it before in my life, and I hope I never see it again.
Right, sir. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Here's a note from WHAS News. Hanover College in Indiana suffered a direct tornado hit in the storms that hit Kentuckiana. Most of the trees on campus were destroyed, as well as 2 sorority houses. There are no reports of injuries. I repeat, no reports of injuries. School officials at Hanover say all the students are safe and all have shelter. No need for parents to worry. 585-2385, Milton Metz here. Hello.
Mr. Metz?
Right.
This is Lieutenant Dixon, the Army Ammunition Plant in Charlestown.
Lieutenant who?
Dixon.
Welcome, sir.
We have several hundred people here that live in the Louisville area, and they are wondering how they're going to get home if possible. Have you received any word on if they will be allowed to travel the streets?
Well, let me put it this way, Lieutenant.
There is a voluntary curfew over all Jefferson County till 6 a.m., but there is a mandatory curfew for a portion of eastern Jefferson County, and I understand that this is iron-bound, that even if one lives in that area, that one is not allowed to go in there. So it depends on where they live. My other information, and I have Byron Crawford here from WHS News, is that people are free to go outside of the mandatory curfew area. Is that right, Byron?
Milton, I have been led to believe from one of the police officials in the last hour or so that an absolute curfew has now been put on Jefferson County, the entire county.
I beg your pardon, this is the operator. It's 585-2385 on here.
That is right.
Can you give me another number to reach Milton Metz? We have an emergency from the governor's office.
This is Milton Metz, and you're speaking to him. Come in, please.
Hello, Milton.
Yes, how are you, Governor?
I'm doing fair under the conditions, Milt. We thought you've been having some questions about Frankfurt, and I tried to bring you up to date on what we have here. The county judge and the mayor have asked for a curfew until 6 a.m. in the morning. We've had 4 reported deaths in this area. The King's Daughters Hospital had to give first aid and send casualties on over to the University Medical Center. And by the way, Milt, the University Medical Center had 10 medical teams available. Time we made the call at the center over there to give assistance to the hospital over here, they were here in 25 minutes with police escort. Probably the most tragic day in history, Kentucky, Milt. It's just bad all over, and we're just doing everything we can do. The federal disaster people will be on the ground at 6:30 in the morning. I've already talked with Mr. Cradle, who will be the coordinator for the federal people. Elmer Beckett, our civil defense man, will be the coordinator in Kentucky for the state. I've been in contact with Fort Knox and Fort Campbell, and they've been authorized to move in any direction that they have equipment and men available to assist in any of the areas that have damage. Stamping ground was the latest problem about an hour ago, I guess, maybe a little more if you haven't had that one. That little community was just flattened.
No, we have not had that, Governor.
Yes, so I have an update on the fatalities, which is a total of 66 confirmed in the state so far.
Eventually, the Kentucky fatality list would total nearly 80, nearly 50 in Indiana. 2,000 homes in Kentucky left uninhabitable. Damage in both Kentucky and Indiana would amount to better than $100 million. It would be days before the WHAS programming schedule would be back to normal, decades before evidence of the tornadoes could be erased. A national weather scientist the next week termed the April 3rd tornadoes the worst in the nation's history, saying that without the efficient warning systems and public awareness of safety precautions, the death toll in the South and Midwest would most certainly have been in 4 figures.
Day of disaster. A WHAS Radio News special. A sequential review of the April 3rd tornado destruction in Kentucky and southern Indiana.
Of course, all of us, more and more every day, are becoming aware of the rising prices of food. And it happens that this afternoon we have with us...
Rudy Baker. I'm a farmer.
You are a farmer, sir.
Yes.
How long have you been farming?
Well, I don't remember nothing else, really. My pa was a farmer, and I just...
It's been a way of life for you,
our whole family. I guess go back maybe 3-4 generations farming.
What's it like being a farmer today, Rudy?
It's hard work. Man's got to get out in the field. I mean, we undergo, like the weather's bad sometimes. A fella understands. Sometimes, one time I remember we had rain. We had rain for 37 straight days, and I don't mean just rain. It was a frog strangler.
And you had to...
the fella had to try to figure, now, there's your crop gone, see? I mean, because you ain't going to make no money. You take your cattle over here to the stockyards, every town's got a stockyard, and every state has, and we take all these trips. See, I don't live right here in town. I live 300 miles away. And
it's a long fur piece.
It's a fur piece, you know, unless you want to dress lighter than that. But I have a long ways to go with that things, and then you get them frog strangling rains, and you get snows, and you get cold out there, and you know, you can't grow nothing.
Well, Rudy, how do you feel now about the public? The public is up in arms about you know, the high prices of food.
Well, I'll tell you now how I feel about that. For years, ever since I can remember, my pa told me this. People look down on the farmers.
Look down?
I mean, they don't go out there themselves and put their hands in the dirt, you know. Like that. I mean, they don't know what that weather's like. I mean, when you have a carrot grow up, winter's been so cold, the carrot comes up shivering. Well, you hate to kill it.
I suppose you do become quite related to your product.
Oh, that's the truth. I'm telling you a fact. It's awful.
What kind of hours do you work, Rudy?
Well, I'd say sun up to sundown. It's like a vampire. I don't never get no rest. I mean, I go start milking the cows in the morning and get up 3:30, you know, and I feel sorry for my wife, you know.
How's that?
Well, I mean, she stayed up all night fixing breakfast. I'm a big eater, and that's another thing. I mean, a woman has a hard time on the farm, tough time for the women folks, you know. They don't. I mean, she don't get to dress up like them city folks do. Or all them fancy clothes and
I detect a bit of animosity there, Rudy. Do you feel
No, I
put
got a
upon
sinus
being a
condition.
farmer?
That's what it is. Huh?
Do you feel put upon being a farmer?
Well, no, it's an honorable profession the way I see it. It's just what I'm put upon is what I feel put upon by the fact that other people don't respect me as a professional person.
Oh, really?
Well, that's right. Where'd they be without me? I mean, the food starts on the farm. If it never left the farm, well, you know, that'd be the end of them, wouldn't it?
What's the farmer going to do, Rudy? I mean, you know, he's...
I'll tell you what he's going to do, and it's coming soon. I'll tell you right now, we're going to get us a union.
A union?
That's right.
A farmers' union?
Yes, sir. We're gonna have to have it. That's all there is to it. We're gonna have to charge certain prices for certain things. We work certain hours. We're gonna get paid by the hour. That's a fact. Farmer gonna get paid by. I'd be a wealthy man in 1 week. That's a fact. I would. And my wife, God knows what she'd have.
Well, then with the union, you could all go out on strike. What would we do?
Now, we don't want to come to that, you understand. But if that's what it comes to, that's what it's going to come to. That's all. We'll get out there and we'll just, you know, carry unfair to crop signs and things like that. Wherever we go. We'll stand right in front of them there grocery stores and everything. Stand right there. And you know, we'll bring our cattle there, you know, to spell us when we're tired. They can carry the signs.
Have you thought perhaps about opening up and marketing your product differently? Maybe opening up your farm to have people come out to your farm and buy direct from you?
Well, I thought about that. I want to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm a kind of what you call a progressive farmer. And so I thought a lot of them fancy things. I thought them years ago. I didn't give them no names, though, you know, so I don't get no credit for nothing. But, yeah, I thought about that, people coming out there. But you know what they do. They're all messing around there, and they're kind of feeling the chickens to see if they're fat enough and everything like that. And, you know, they get in tomatoes patches. Why, boy, there ain't nothing left of them. They're squeezing them tomatoes and everything, you know. And the only way a farmer could do that is if he growed coconuts. Because it wouldn't matter then whether they squeeze the coconuts or not. What are you going to do to a coconut? But this ain't coconut territory.
That's what I understand.
No, sir.
How is help on the farm? Can you get help pretty well? I mean...
Well, now, that's interesting, mister. You know, years ago we used to get help, but people have changed a lot. And I can't afford to pay a lot of money for it. And it's like I say, it ain't easy work, you know. And them fellers, them boys used to come out here, them college kids used to in the summer, you know. They'd work for me. And then around tobacco time, you know. But they ain't coming around no more because they don't want to get their hands dirty is what it is. That's what it is. Don't want to get their hands dirty.
Well, maybe it's that they can find more financial reward in other areas, you think?
Oh, they do. There's bank robbing and things like that.
What kind of an inventory would you say you have financially invested in?
Well, I got a couple of plows, and I got an old tractor. Don't run a lot. Didn't run a lot when I got it. Darn devil, I'll get him a feller. So, anyways, and I got a horse. I had a giraffe for a while.
A giraffe?
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah. Well, you see, we're so far down in the lowlands. We was trying to see what the other folks was doing. And I was trying to measure when they were sending their crops in so I could beat them to market, but it never happened because that giraffe, he was a close-mouthed, I'm telling you. You couldn't get nothing out of him.
Is farming really competitive like that?
Oh, let me tell you, I ain't spoke to my neighbors. Since I was born, my pa never spoke to the folks in the farm next to us, 75 miles away, but we never spoke. We passed each other a few times, but, you know, I think something going on over that farm. They're cannibals or something over there.
How do you figure?
Oh, I don't know. Always dancing around. They got that big pot out in the front of the yard.
Got a what?
A big pot.
Pot?
Yeah. Well, that's what I heard anyways. They got a big pot out there in the yard, and, you know, right next to the cabin there where they live.
Rudy, do you have children?
Oh, yeah. I got 3 or 4.
3 or 4 you don't know?
Well, one of them went a plow a couple of weeks ago. We ain't seen him since. See, we got a big place here. I mean,
Well, Rudy, back to the rising prices of food. What would you consider to be fair?
Well, I don't know. A farmer don't work on much of a profit, you know. I mean, you should see the old home place. I mean, it ain't what you call fancy. You know, we got a player piano and we lost the player. He starved to death. What happened to him?
Rudy, if you had your life to live over again, what would you do? Would you farm again?
Oh, I think I might be one of them assembly line workers and join a union, you know, and work in a plant somewhere and get myself a retirement and everything, you know, all them benefits folks get.
Which a farmer doesn't have.
No, I don't get nothing like that. I mean, when I retire, that'll be it. I mean, when I retire, it'll be because of malnutrition.
Rudy Baker, thank you very much for appearing with us this afternoon, and lots of luck.
Thank you. I sure do thank you. Well, I guess I better get back to the truck.
Speaking of Streaking was one of those shows driven by current news events. Streaking, or running nude in public, had captured newspaper and radio coverage the last few weeks prior to me opening up the telephone lines to explore my audience's views on the subject. I guess that's what I did a lot of, explore my audience's views on different subjects. Well, I guess the days of human interest are gone on radio now. Apparently there's no room or time to explore the unknown. Or maybe jocks today just feel uneasy about doing a show where the answer unfolds as you go. But that was my cup of tea. From 1974, speaking of streaking.
I was just thinking, it's such a beautiful day today. I wonder if we're going to have any streaking activity, and if so, what is your opinion of streaking? We'll open up the happy line, 585-2385, take a few calls to get a sidewalk survey, a synopsis of people's opinions. Streaking, what's your thought, Phyllis?
I think it's funny.
It's funny?
Yeah.
How is that?
Well, if anybody's going to run around nude, they're just funny.
Why do you think do you think it's all of a sudden upon us, or has it been always there, or what?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't thought about that part. If somebody's going to run around nude, though, you know, they're not doing anything really bad. It's just silly. And if they're that dumb to do it, it's just funny and just laughing. They'll go away.
Hopefully, then. Okay, so Phyllis, we'll say that your opinion is it's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Mickey, your opinion on streaking, please.
Well, I think it's harmless. I think that the people that's been writing into the paper saying that a nude body is immoral are pretty far gone if that's what they think is immoral, the sight of a nude body.
So, in your opinion would be?
I think it's harmless and it'll go away.
Harmless and it will go away?
Yeah, just a bed.
Oh, have you ever seen a streaker?
No, but I've been looking.
Mickey, thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Your opinion on streaking, Mary?
I think it's nasty.
You think it's bad?
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because they shouldn't go around showing their body in public.
Uh-huh.
They do in Germany and nobody has anything to say about it.
They do in Germany and nobody has it. Who is that with an opinion in the background, Mary?
Wait a minute. This is Mary's mother.
Yes, Mary's mother.
We were in Germany for 17 months, and the people over there don't have this, thing about nakedness.
Uh-huh.
And there are, it shocked us when we first got there. There are statues there. They don't have fig leaves over them.
Right.
And you don't have this, Puritan stuff to me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So what would your opinion be now? That do you see anything wrong with it?
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh. Okay. What is Mary's mother? What is your name?
mother is Alvina Jackson.
Alvina, thanks for calling.
All right.
Bye-bye. Our question on the Happy Line this afternoon, Mike, is what's your opinion of streaking?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's a little bit improper, but I think it's better than people going around killing each other or robbing each other.
That's an excellent observation.
I think it'll come and go.
Mike, how old are you?
11.
11 years old. A very astute observation, Mike. Thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Mrs. Chavis, your opinion on streaking?
Well, my opinion about streaking, I think it's just nature. Why not? This is a free country.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, why not?
That's right. I mean, a baby can streak.
Uh-huh. That's true.
This is the way I feel about it. I mean, when you were born, you don't wear your clothes.
Uh-huh. So then, if it were not proper for a young person to proceed in that way, then there would be some kind of discrimination by age, wouldn't it?
Why not if they make it happy?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What do I detect a dialect? What dialect is that I detect?
Oh, I'm from the Philippines.
From the Philippines? It's a very lovely dialect.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling with your opinion.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Our question on the Happy Line, Matt, is streaking. What's your opinion?
Well, I think it's beautiful. You know, I think the human body's beautiful.
Uh-huh.
And I think, you know, like, it's nice for people who have no fear of running around displaying the human body.
Uh-huh.
And, you know.
Have you seen a streaker, Matt?
Yes, I've been a streaker.
Oh, the truth comes out. Matt the Streak. Okay, and you don't see... All right, let's talk about this thing just for a second, Matt. What possessed you to streak? What led up to it? What finally made you decide to do that?
Well, once I was coming home from swimming and got tired of wearing them wet shorts, I just pulled them off.
And proceeded to walk, or did you streak?
Proceeded to walk. It was kind of late. Until we saw the man, so we took off.
Saw the man and decided to streak on. Okay, Matt. I appreciate your comment.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Rosie, your opinion on streaking, please.
Oh, hello. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, really. I think it's nice, you know, it's neat as long as you get the body to go with. You know what I'm talking about.
You think a beautiful body should be a prerequisite for all streakers?
That's right. Because everybody likes to, you know, to look at nice things, you know. But if you just go out there and streak, and if you don't have it, no, I don't think I would like to, you know.
Okay, but beside Rosie's name, I'll say streaking is all right, provided you got the bod to do it to it. Thank you, Rosie.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Carrie, your opinion on streaking, please.
Well, I think that streakers should join a nudist colony because, see, if they want to go around streaking naked, they should, you know, do it with other people.
That appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think that would be quite the thing to do in public where people may not have that same opinion?
No, because see, if they have to go to jail or something, they wouldn't have any clothes to put on.
Yeah, I guess so, and it could be pretty cold in jail, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Sarah, your opinion on streaking?
Well, really, I just don't think it's the right thing to do, and not that I'm a prude because I'm only 19, but I just don't think it's the right thing to do in front of small children. It was a big thing at U of L, and we got a good laugh out of it, but it's getting sort of old.
Do you think it's on the way out?
Yes. It's just about everybody's sick of it. I know it happened at a couple of dances about a week ago, and everybody just almost booed. We're really tired of it.
Okay. Very good. So let's see, in one word, what would I put by your name, Sarah, for your opinion?
Blah.
Blah.
Yes.
Okay, let me put that down. Thank you, Sarah. Mary, your opinion on the Happy Line on streaking?
Well, first of all, I think the Surgeon General should have a little thing that says it could be dangerous to your health. You know,
revolving doors and things like that.
Right. Well, not only that, but you know, weather-wise too. Now, if you're
a true streaker, it may not bother you too much, but if you're a shuffler...
Oh, I see, yeah.
Right, and go very slow, you're taking really a bad chance of getting sunburned.
Exposure to the environs.
Yeah, so I think they should have a little follow-up, like the Surgeon General did on the cigarettes, and, you know...
Streaking may be hazardous to your health.
Right.
All right.
Right.
All right. What about socially now?
Oh, socially, well, now my husband had a comment a while ago, and he said that he thinks maybe, you know, to pay off the national debt, you should sell tickets to it, you know, and because he thinks it's very hilarious. And really, freedom of body and movement is, I don't know, there's something very relaxing about it, although I don't do it myself. There is something to be said for it.
You would not fall apart if you saw a streaker.
I've never seen one. I don't know. They might lock me up for laughing. I really don't know until I would see one. But I wish you would put me down just as saying it might be dangerous to your health.
I've got Mary, might be hazardous to your health.
Right.
Okay, thanks for calling, Mary. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What is your opinion, Debbie? And I expect a very serious opinion from you, Debbie.
I think they should let streaking be allowed because people like to streak. They should be able to streak. So they should make places when they streak.
They should make sort of a streaking square.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll say Debbie says streaking is okay. There should be a place for streakers. Right?
Right.
Okay, Debbie, thanks for calling. Catherine, your opinion on streaking, please.
Well, I think that this is not the dark ages, that we have learned to wear clothes, and I think that we should be wearing them. And I have a little poem that I wrote here, if you'd like for me to read it, about streaking.
A poem on streaking?
Yeah.
Certainly, Catherine.
Speaking of streaking, I would call it freaking. All nuts don't grow on trees. We have a few running around in the breeze. Should this just be pranked, these people would look better in pants. Is college for a better life, or to get away from strain and strife? Or better still, to show your figure, so some slick chick will dig you? This is one thing that is really stupid. It will never help out Cupid. So boys and girls of college age, why don't you learn just how to behave?
Catherine, that's marvelous. I must admit I had a few tense moments, but very good.
I wouldn't put anything on there that wasn't, you know.
Of course not. This is a family show. Thanks for calling, Catherine.
Okay.
Have a happy day.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Kim, what is your opinion of streaking?
Well, I think they ought to be able to do what they want to without the police getting them.
Would that mean that you're in favor of streaking?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a streaker, Kim?
No, but my friends have.
Your friends have, Okay, you don't think you'd fall apart if you saw a streaker?
No.
Okay, we'll mark by Kim, okay, and should not be, the gendarmerie should not participate in the chase. Thanks for calling, Kim.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Our question is, what's your opinion of streaking? And mother of two college sons, rather anonymous, what is your opinion of streaking?
Well, I think it's perfectly harmless. If it's the worst thing my boys do, I'll be happy. And I think it will relieve a lot of their frustrations and tensions. And I don't think they'll have the inhibitions that our generation had. I don't think they will be visiting psychiatrists or taking tranquilizers. And just let them do it.
Now, if you were
I had a daughter,
if you were the mother of two college daughters,
I may feel differently.
Might feel a little differently.
Right. But I think it's perfectly harmless. It will pass.
Do you think streaking is predominantly a male sport?
Yes, I really do. And I don't think anybody is going to see something they haven't seen before. And it will pass.
Okay. Very good, mother of two college sons.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Becky?
I think that if anybody wants to go streaking, then it should be okay. If we have freedom of speech and freedom of or assembly that you ought to have freedom of expression, and if you want to go around naked, then I think it's okay, and if anybody don't want to see you, then they don't have to look.
Have you ever streaked before, Peggy?
No.
Do you think you ever will?
Well, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so beside Peggy's name, her official thought is that it's okay, and you don't think that it could possibly be detrimental to someone that might not streak or really appreciate streakers?
No, I think that if, they don't want to see it or anything, well, they can always turn around.
Okay. Thanks for calling, Peggy.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Rosie, your opinion on streaking?
I am against streaking.
You are against it?
Yes,
Okay.
I am against it.
Okay, why?
First of all, it's immoral, indecent, and I'm a Christian, and I believe my body houses Christ. And if I run around streaking like this, I think I'm doing an injustice to the human race.
Of course, in this time in history in Northern Ireland, there's a great conflict between the Irish Republic and Great Britain. We have with us this afternoon a young man named Patrick O'Shaughnessy, who is the public relations officer for the Irish Republican Army. Is that correct, Pat?
That's right. I'm a PR for the IRA.
What mainly is your job, Pat?
Well, mainly, you see, what we're trying to do here is to free the Republic of Ireland from Great Britain.
Right.
And, of course, my job is to tell people in Ireland how to go about it.
I
in
see.
their daily life, you see, in their conversation and so on.
Well, I guess you really have your hands full at the moment, don't you? There is quite a conflict in Northern Ireland at the moment, isn't there, Pat?
Oh, yes, and it goes back a long ways. Yes, I've got my hands full. There's no question that it goes back. It draws a parallel, as I see it, and my whole idea of public relations is based on the parallel it draws between America and the colonies and leaving Great Britain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Revolutionary War, I believe you called it.
You feel like that same thing is occurring now in Ireland, Northern Ireland?
Sure. For example, the Boston Tea Party. There's a fine example.
The Boston Tea Party?
Boston Tea Party. And the great Atlantic and Pacific ship, was that a tea party?
Well, Pat, this is only the 20th century. I mean, there are certain things that are difficult to change. You must realize that as, trying to gain independence. It's not an overnight thing. I mean, you just don't declare your independence and...
Well, no, but I wouldn't call, we've been trying since the 4th century. I wouldn't call that overnight. 1,600 years. I mean, even if you're an Alaskan, that's a long night.
Come on, Pat. Come on.
Well, no, I don't think I'm exaggerating. I mean, it's been a long time.
Give us an idea of what it's like in Northern Ireland now, with the conflict going on.
Well, it's very difficult. You see, there's no mass transportation anymore. You can't just take a bus or drive your car because your car's always being inspected. And my car needs inspection, actually, a lot. But there it is. And if you get a good car to travel with, it gets bombed. Of course, sometimes, like myself, you buy a bomb. And I've bought several. From the Smiling Irishman. You're liable to be in trouble there. The transportation is bad. And then you never know when you go into a restaurant, for example.
What about the nightlife in Ireland?
It's kind of dark. Because everybody's afraid of everybody, They don't see many lights turned on anymore in Ireland. And you're afraid to go. You go to a nightclub and you order a little food and it might explode on you.
I guess that would be a problem when you get a prime ribs of beef and it explodes.
That's right. It's a thorny problem. There's no question of that. But in the morning, for example, if your cereal pops, it's all right. But I'm getting a little jumpy with that.
What can you see advances that the Irish Republic are making?
Oh, sure. Just the other night, I made it all the way home without being shot at.
I suppose that would be somewhat airy.
Well, it is. It lets a lot of air in. I'm a fella that don't like to be shot at, particular. And it's a little dangerous going out at night. I don't mind telling you that. It's a little dangerous going out during the day, as a matter of fact.
Well, Pat, not to give away any of the secrets, perhaps, of the Irish Republican Army, what type of operations does the Irish Republic have in store for Great Britain and the British troops?
Well, if you promise not to tell anybody this.
I wouldn't tell a soul, Pat.
That's between us. The British stop for tea.
For tea? Oh, tea. The noonday tea type thing.
The noonday tea type, yes. And they stop every day about noon, as you say. And during that period of time, it is our intention in the IRA to move in and regain all the area we've lost when the British weren't drinking tea. Now, the British drink so much tea, we might win the war during a tea break. Tea for two, and I'm for you, you dirty limey. No, that's the...
Well, we've been talking about the Northern Ireland and the conflict there. I guess it's sort of like a state of war existing in that area, right, Pat?
Well, if it ain't a state of war, we're sure missing a good chance. Because we're shooting at each other.
Well, what is it like? What do you miss between a state of war and a state of peacetime? What are the things that you miss now that you're in a war?
Well, I lived very plush before the war. I'm not an ordinary person, you can understand that. I'm an educated man. And I live very fancy. And mostly, I suppose, I miss my servants.
Your servants?
Yeah, British. I had a lot of limeys around.
Well, I imagine with the war in Northern Ireland, it's sort of bad on the love life, wouldn't it? I mean, ducking those bullets and...
Oh, it's a terrible thing to romance. It deals a terrible blow to romance, you see. If I take out a young girl,
right,
how am I to know whether she's a true Irish lass or whether she's working for the British?
Yeah, you're right.
A difficult problem. So what I do, I have my own method of finding this out. What I do is I take her out and we stop and have a bite to eat. Maybe we take in a film or something,
right,
you see,
right.
A cinema. We leave the cinema and we stop and park for a while and talk.
Right.
And the way I figure is, if that girl pays any attention to me, she's got to be working for the other side.
Patrick, some people have said that the conflict in Northern Ireland is basically of a religious nature.
Well,
is it true? Is it a religious war?
Well, it is and it's not, you see. But that's a part of it. There's no question about it being a part of it. For example, it's very difficult now to go to church.
To go to church?
Yes, because you see, they're guarding the churches. They figure we're meeting there.
The British are...
The British are guarding the churches. For example, they inspect your Bible.
Your Bible?
Yeah, they look through the Bible. They're afraid there are a few passages they might get a bang out of.
Well, what does the average person in Northern Ireland feel about the British troops?
They think of them as tourists.
Tourists?
Right. I mean, they're just here for a temporary time, you see. They're making their tour, and that's it. But we're taking advantage of the tourist thing. As a matter of fact, the Irish are very opportunistic. We got some good prices on cameras.
Cameras?
You can't shoot a camera and a gun at the same time.
I suppose not, Pat.
That's why they shoot as bad as they do.
What cities are involved in the conflict, Pat?
Oh, quite a number, but I'd say the hottest part of the war right now is in Londonderry.
Londonderry?
Yes. And we Irish are thinking of using as one method to overcome the British, changing the name of Londonderry, because a very British name, you know.
It does have a British ring to it.
Yeah, we want to change it to something else.
What did you have in mind?
Cogan's Bluff.
Patrick, what would you do if Northern Ireland gained independence? Would you... What would be the first thing you'd do?
Oh, I'd move out of the country.
Move out of the country?
Oh, sure.
After you gained independence for it? Spent 20, 30 years working?
Yeah, I couldn't stand having another government over me. I've had enough trouble with this one.
Where the sun shines bright in Louisville by the mighty Ohio, where the title Derby Town has grown in name, stood a gathering of 10,000 folks that 17th of May to see a little red horse win its fame. From 42 nominations came 15 to the post, and each 3-year-old moved through the sun-kissed air with colors dancing gaily. From the paddock gate they came, from a bugler's call, past multitudes to see, to look, to stare. Toward starter and the barrier too, these thoroughbreds trot slow as history's first Kentucky Derby nears. 1.5 miles is just ahead, and each readies for the run to finish first for a victory full of tears. All's quiet now, not a whispered sound as the starting line's begun to win that bowl of silver that gleams majestic in the sun. Now a brief delay, a horse's neigh, a spectator turns to cough. Then the barrier's up, the flag waves down, and thousands shout, "They're off!" The favorite colt named Chesapeake was the last to start that day, and its breeder owner, H.P. McGrath, stood stunned and in dismay. The leader was Volcano, and it was plain to see that he'd set a grueling pace for the sweepstake victory. The race continued much this way, a thundering, torrid pace, till from the backstretch clubhouse there came a mighty roar as a little chestnut 3-year-old took over second place. Then all Kentucky stood and cheered as he took the lead and more. But the win would not be easy as Volcano came on again as the final stretch for home came into view. And all those 1,000 folks laid aside their racing jokes to watch the greatest race they ever knew. It was then those words from old H.P. shouting wildly with a grin, "Go on there, man! Show 'em all! Go on there! You can win!" So Jockey Lewis won that race in 1875, riding Aristides as the winner. The Kentucky Derby came alive.
All right, here it is. Jam on the inside, Secretariat on the outside, and it is Hindlite in third.
As always, complete coverage with the people you know of the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. And all of the fun of those 7 days we call Derby Week, from the They're Off luncheon to the winner's circle. WHAS Radio and the Kentucky Derby. People and service do make a difference.
Derby Week 104 Recap. A sequential review of the festivities and happenings around Derby City prior to the Run for the Roses. It's called Derby Festival Week, and you heard it all on 84. It began on Friday the 28th with a They're Off luncheon.
Every year, the They're Off luncheon kicks off the Derby Festival. County Judge Mitch McConnell was there.
Well, I'd like to assure you that all the Derby horses have passed the CEM test. I hope our weekend visitors can say the same when they get back home.
Saturday the 29th, and the Governor's Cup bike race from Frankfort to Louisville, the Derby Festival Basketball Classic at Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center, and in the sky, the Great Balloon Race.
There goes the Fall City balloon. The air balloon is off and running right now.
It's fantastic. I've never seen anything like this before.
It's real beautiful.
A very colorful sight.
You think they might come by and pick me up?
You want me to make a prediction?
Please.
IUS campus.
We appear to have a winner in the Kentucky Derby Festival Great Balloon Race.
What a job by Payne Weber, who dropped down 3 feet off the ground.
Sunday the 30th, and pop concert and fireworks on Riverfront Belvedere, the Belle of Louisville Teen Cruise on the Ohio, and the Kentucky Derby of Cycling in Cherokee Park. Monday, May 1, the Belle of Louisville Dance Cruise, and the Derby Festival Mini Marathon in Iroquois Park.
It's a long way to 5th and Main, and several of them cheered that aspect as they ran by.
When it was over, a familiar set of legs was at the head of the pack. Dwayne Gaston, also last year's winner.
I think I ran a little smarter this year, because last year was so hot too, and I went out really early in the park and tried to stay in contention early.
Tuesday, May 2, and at Churchill Downs, the Derby Trial, the traditional preliminary race to the Kentucky Derby itself, and the Derby Festival Military Salute, with the United States Marine Drum and Bugle Corps and the United States Navy Band Sea Chanters.
Here's the cheer, my lad.
Wednesday, May 3rd, and on the Belvedere, Sing Out Louisville. At Harmony Landing Country Club, the Pro-Am Golf Tournament, marching band contest at Jeffersontown High School, and on the Ohio, the Great Steamboat Race.
The Delta Queen is ahead of us.
I noticed that.
Something might go wrong that would slow her down.
Is that sort of our only hope at this point?
I wouldn't say the race, Ann, was hopeless, but unless a PT boat takes off from the jet boats and torpedoes the Delta Queen, there's not much chance.
Are you saying we're a loser?
We're just getting ready to cross the finish line. The Delta Queen. The Delta Queen wins!
Thursday, May 4, and down Broadway, the Pegasus Parade.
Foster Brooks, the Grand Marshal of the parade, is here. Foster, how does it feel to be back in Louisville?
It's just wonderful.
The Kentucky Fried Chicken float just went in front of me. It was a giant chicken. No. Well, hello. They have some nice looking majorettes out front, I want to tell you.
And later that evening, the Philip Morris Festival of Stars with Jerry Reed and Dottie West.
I noticed that you studied music at Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, but I don't think it hurt my picking none.
Friday, May 5, at Churchill Downs, the Kentucky Oaks, at the Galt House, the Kentucky Colonel's Banquet, and Derby Eve Jam 78 at the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center with Foghat. But it was all just preliminary to the greatest 2 minutes in sports, Derby 104. Saturday, May 6th, a record $10.3 million was bet at Churchill Downs during the course of the day. A record for any track, anywhere, any day ever. Before the eyes of 135,000 cheering spectators, Derby 104 became history. Here's WHAS Sports Director Kaywood Ledford's worldwide call.
And they're off immediately. And it's Raymond Earl over on the inside. It is going out there with a firm just coming right with him. And those two are setting the pace right now. And let's see what the others are doing here. Is Sensitive Prince and Extreme outside, and he's using some run to get up there. And Aesop's Foibles is in there closer than you think he would be. Raymond Earl is going to set the pace as they come to the finish line for the first time. Affirmed is second, and now Sensitive Prince is hooking him. Under the finish line, they head for the first turn. It is Raymond Earl. It's going as far as he can on the head end. Sensitive Prince is a half length off him on the outside second. It's 2 lengths to a firm third. And then in there we get Aesop's Foibles after that. And they move on around the turn that way, and here is Hoist the Silver. And now that is Believe It, who is up there much closer than we thought he would be. He has moved into 4th place with Aesop's Foibles now 4th. And then we got Chief of Dixieland. Down the back stretch to go, and Sensitive Prince leads it by 2 lengths. Raymond Earl is second. We come 3 lengths back till we get Affirmed. And then we get Believe It running right in there with Aesop's Foibles. We come on back to Chief of Dixieland at Darby Creek Road. Alidar is picking up a few horses as he goes along. Then we've got Hoist the Silver, Dr. Valeri, and Special Honor. And we've got a half mile left in the Derby as they head for the far turn, and Sensitive Prince continues to lead it. And Raymond Earl is hanging right in there and comes up on the outside, and Affirmed is coming up outside those two. Here is Believe It's in there in 4th. Aesop's Foibles after that. On the head end now, it is Affirmed taking over on the outside. Affirmed is going for the lead, and it is Believe It that's hooking him right now outside of him. And those two are head and head as they come out of the corner and head for home, and Alidar is moving up behind them. 1/4 mile to run as they come to us. And that is Affirmed with a lead. Believe It is trying to keep up in 2nd place, and Alidar now has charged to 3rd on the extreme outside. Darby Creek Road is 4th. It is Affirmed that is the leader. We've got Believe It 2nd. Alidar is trying to catch them both, but Affirmed looks awfully strong as 16th to go, and he's got it. He's got his Kentucky Derby. It is Affirmed that's going to win it all. Alidar to 2nd. Affirmed wins it by a length and a half. Alidar is 2nd. And we get Believe It in there 3rd. Darby Creek Road got 4th. Then Aesop's Foibles, Insensitive Prince. Then we get Dr. Valeri. Then we get Hoist the Silver. Then we get Chief of Dixieland, Raymond Earl, and Special Honor brings up the rear. And pretty nice Derby.
Derby 104 on WHAS, your Kentucky Derby station.
What is the best thing that you like in regards, we're just finishing Derby week and Derby and all of, and we're just curious, what is the best thing about Derby week that you like? What is the best event about Derby week that really turns you on?
Glenn, what's the best thing you like about Derby week?
Well, besides the Derby and all that, I sort of like, the steamboat race since the Bell won this year.
Yeah, it makes
I really like the mini marathon because next year I'm running in it, hopefully.
In the mini marathon?
Right, the 13-mile one.
Well, about the great steamboat race now out there in the Ohio, what do you think about the turn maneuver instituted by the Bell this year? Do you think that was a legal maneuver?
Anything's legal in riverboat racing.
It says it on page 42.
Right.
Anything goes.
Right.
Well, do you think the Bell really needed it?
No, not really, because I was listening to it. And I had a friend down there, it was down by 6 Mile. And he said the lead was just so monumental that nobody could have caught her. Even the captain from the Julia Bell Swain said, no way, because he was having trouble keeping up with her. So I don't think she needed it, but it's always nice to have a little insurance.
Right. Now, that black smoke, there was tons of black smoke. Where was the smoke coming from?
Delta Queen.
From the Queen?
Right.
Yeah, because we were headed out 64 and looked over there right in back of those oil tanks, you know, and we could see it coming up out of the river, and it looked like from where we were that something was on fire.
No, because the Delta Queen has the two huge black smokestacks, and you wouldn't believe the smoke. They really, you know, laid on the coal and just burned out.
Well, you know, there was another thought about that the Delta Queen had, what, about 600, 700 passengers, and the Belle only had, what, about 100?
Well, it's $1 a pound.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just wondering, weight-wise, if that gave the Belle quite an advantage.
Well, the Julia Bell Swain should have won then, since it was the lightest with the most power, per pound. But I guess the Bell finally got smart and stuck them all on the chaperone.
There you go. Okay, Glenn, thanks. Bye-bye. Kim, what do you like about Derby Week best?
I think it's real fun. I liked it a lot.
What in particular did you like the best?
Well, I told my parents that Foolish Pleasure was winning, and I'd write, and they didn't think I was.
Yeah. But you didn't have any money on it.
No. I did a jackpot, and I didn't get in it.
Well, but anyway, you had the pleasure of picking the winner.
Yeah.
What did you think there when Duck came off in the lead and was, well, leading, what, probably about half, 2/3 of the race?
I didn't even think he'd be able to win. He was so far behind, I couldn't, you know, see him. For a while, we thought, you know, Avitator was going to win.
Yeah. Okay, and can you pick anything definite out of Derby Week, though, that you really enjoyed the best?
Seeing the stars and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go, you know.
Bobby Goldsboro.
Yeah.
Did you hear, well, you didn't get to go, though, to the Festival of Stars, but William Conrad dialogue on stage, very emotional thing. Very emotional thing. Okay, Kim, thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're asking the question, what is the best thing or the most interesting thing that you found during Derby Week, the Derby festivities? And Scott, what do you like best about Derby Week?
Well, the Derby is really what it leads up to. And, well, my horse was Bombay Duck, and I thought it was going to win because it had most of the, it was leading most of the way.
Yeah.
So the steamboat race, well, we won that.
We did real well in that, matter of fact. Okay, thanks for calling, Scott.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Metz?
No, this isn't Mr. Metz. Who is that?
Oh, excuse me. My name is Forrester Woods. I wanted to talk. Is this a Milton Metz program?
No, only on Monday through Friday.
Oh, I see. What's your name?
My name is Jim Ferguson, sir, and you're on our Happy Day line. I thought I would mention that in case you might have some obscenities that you were going to say or something.
You're one of them disc jockeys, ain't you?
Last time I checked, mostly.
Where do you fellas ride, anyways? I looked all them tracks. I can't find you nowhere.
What was the purpose of your call, sir?
Well, I wanted to ask you, well, I really wanted to get some advice. You know, Mr. Metz, he asks a question, but he also gives a lot of good advice to folks when they call in. And
well, go ahead. I'll give you some advice.
Well, I'm just sitting here. I'm kind of lonesome this morning. I'm a bachelor again, I guess you might say. And
a bachelor again?
Well, I was once. You know, I've been married, of course, and I wonder if you'd do me a favor.
A favor? Well, no, I won't let you have my black book. No.
I want you to. Would you play Mexicali Rose for me?
Mexicali Rose?
You see, I'd be married 19 years today, but a couple of weeks ago, my wife left me. She took the bus to Portland, Maine. They'll bring her back because they count them buses every couple of days.
What caused it there? What was your name again?
Forrester Wood.
Forrester Wood, right. Well,
I don't know, a lot of things, I guess, but I just wanted you to, you know, play Mexicali Rose because that's her name.
That's you met her down in Mexico, did you?
Yeah, Mexicali, that's her name. Yeah, I met her down in Mexico a long time. I met her at the customs. Well, I guess you might say it was customs. It was sort of manners or whatever, but I met her down there. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, just pine away. I mean,
That's right. You've got a life to live.
I went out last night. I went over what you might say, maybe I shouldn't say this on Sunday. I went over to the pub.
The pub? The local one?
I wore my new bowling shirt. I guess I created a lot of attention over there. One of the sleeves is missing.
And it's a new bowling shirt, right?
Yes, sir. I hate to see her go. You know, 19 years is a long time, and she left me right at tax time.
But isn't that good, or is that bad?
That's bad. You know, I wanted to put her down as a dependent. Then, too, she helps fill out things. You know, she works at the post office.
She was a mailman? That was probably the problem.
I think that. I guess just the way she wears clothes. But she's a real nice person. Listen, I listen to HAS all the time. I've been hearing it all night long. I turn it off at midnight, but I don't ever rent a room with high ceilings. There's an awful echo in here.
An echo?
Yeah, there is, and you can't stop hearing it, you know.
I would see my local doctor, actually, Forrester.
Oh, you are?
No, I would.
Oh,
I would. And hearing, too, I think.
He got shorter ceilings? Some of them doctor's offices are kind of modern. No, I tell you, though, I'm depressed today. Of course, I'll get out of it, I know that. But...
That's what we're all hoping.
Yeah, I'll say, you laugh a lot, don't you? I tell you, if anything sad like this ever happens to you, it's a terrible thing.
Mr.
Metz ain't in the studio, is he?
No, he's long gone.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
I could,
healthy.
try to give you some advice, Forrester.
I'd appreciate that.
Why don't you take the bus and join her?
Well, I think taking 2 buses in one family is too much, don't you?
Well, at the same time, though, Forrester, you could probably catch her, as slow as the buses are, you could probably catch her halfway there.
Between here and Portland, Maine?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the thought. Of course, she's been on that bus for 2 weeks now, you know. They're dropping things on the roof to her, like care packages and things, like early. But I sure do miss her, and I just felt awful bad today, and I wanted to talk to somebody.
Well, listen, I've got a beautiful selection of music here. Could I interest you in, let's see, the Drifters and Save the Last Dance for Me?
They sound sad.
That would sound sad. What about Love Letters in the Sand?
Well, have you got Love Letters in the Sand?
I've got Love Letters in the Sand, or I've got an option of Poison Ivy.
Well, I've had Poison Ivy. I think Love Letters in the Sand would be nice.
Do you think that'd do it?
Sure do.
Well, listen, Forrester, I want to, thank you for calling, and I'm sorry I didn't have,
Oh, it was my pleasure, Mr. Metz.
On a day like today, we pass the time away.
We're talking about music on the Jim Ferguson Sunday Show. Music. It can take you on a fantasy trip or into reality, build you up or bring you down. Sometimes the same song can do both to different people. It's an interesting matter of interpretation. The Who's record, Can't Live With You, Can't Live Without You, is a good case in point. And Bob, you were saying?
Well, I made the statement that I felt that there was more reality in that song than there was one like Mac Davis and Boogie Woogie Mommy and the Blue Suede Shoes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you explained to me your position, see, why you made the statement, and really I have to agree with your point, in the song.
Right. Now, what we're going to do, I played the Who's new record. Now, artistically, earlier, and we're going to do this for those that may just be joining us, earlier played the new Who release of Seems Like I Can't Live With You, But I Can't Live Without You. And I said, artistically, I thought it was, it's a tremendous record, but philosophically, I thought was a difficult concept to utilize or live by, and they say in the record, it's like when something happens, that's the way it's going to be forever and ever, and time, never changes it, and I can't quite accept that, because that would mean that, in anyone's life, if something happened that was bad, then the remainder of their life would be that way, and hopefully that's not the case. And Bob, you said that you've had a change now?
Well, on that point, I have to agree with you that, things possibly can get better, but really, in this song, in my opinion, it's laughs, see, because, it's just, if you listen to the words real close, they're just talking out loud, because there's people that women and men both that just stand by and let their love slip away, so they don't care. And this happens to some people 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Right, but now what happens if somebody stands by and sees their love slip away? Don't you think that it's already slipped away?
Well, if he... Yeah, right.
Because if you really care, you're not going to let that happen.
Well,
I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's already slipped away. So maybe what we have is a person that just occasionally slips into love, but usually is not in love. And unfortunately, whomever they fall in love with is more consistent than that, and they're left standing there, in love by themselves. Okay, thanks for calling, Bob.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mary, did you have a comment?
Yes, well, I think that music is really a lot easier to understand today, since there isn't, at any rate on stations like WHAS, so much music is played by people who are deliberately trying to keep people from misunderstanding the songs. Now, there are some really rough songs that have been out that people will deliberately mix things together in such a way that their words will be distorted.
Can you think of an example?
Well, I can't think of an example of particularly deliberate distortion, except in, I think there are certain acid rock type numbers. I think the Rolling Stones have done this a bit. There are some songs where, I don't know, just maybe the musicians, maybe you can understand all but one line. And that can really be rather strange. And then, of course, there are the freaky people who like to record backward. Like the Beatles in Rain.
Right, or the Beatles used to do.
Yes, right. And about the interpretation of the song, you seem to be having a sad trend this afternoon. Why is that? I mean, first the Gordon Lightfoot about the rainy day people, and then...
But, we get back to the interpretation of music. And in Rainy Day People, I think that's a very up song, really, because he has affixed a title to a type of person or people, namely Rainy Day People. Yes. But what I get out of that song is that he's talking about people that are there when you have problems, when you have a problem, you would go to a rainy day person, and that person is a person that has had this problem, or is familiar with the problem, and you can talk to him,
Right, but even in the process of sympathizing or empathizing, there can be a great deal of depression.
Oh, sure, but it's better to face it than not.
Well, yes, I'm not denying that.
And it's a lot easier to face it with someone else, that has been there or that is aware of it.
Oh, yes, but you get a lot more happiness built up out of a song like, for example, Bridge Over Troubled Water, which tries to convey the same idea in a way, if I understand your meaning of Rainy Day People.
Well, I have an excellent suggestion. Why don't we go back and we'll listen to Rainy Day People, and we'll sort of dissect it. What do you think about that?
Very good idea.
Rainy day people always seem to know when it's time to call. Rainy day lovers don't hide love inside, they just pass it on.
Gordon Lightfoot, Rainy Day People. Susan, you were saying?
Just that sometimes, quite often in songs, I can't understand all of the words. I can usually get the general gist, but I'll try it, listen 3 or 4 times to a song to figure out what one particular phrase is.
Yeah.
And I can't for the life of me figure it out.
Can you understand, is it that you can't understand the words or you can't understand the phrase?
Well, what they're, the words, what they're saying.
I see. Well, we talked about that earlier, and that's in the mix. And what happens in a session, a recording session today, is that it used to be that an artist would come in with his band, and they would all sit down and do their thing at one time. And there would be like 30 mics in a studio, and everybody would be mic'd, and they would record it in one take on one track, and that would be the master. And then in the industry, they started coming up with multi-track recording devices. And so that meant that instead of having to do it all at once, and considering the probabilities of everybody doing a perfect piece in the song, they could do it segmentally or track by track. Listen, in other words, they would lay what's called a rhythm track, or just the basic beat on one track, and then they would back that up and listen to that and record on another track the next piece of business, whether it's a guitar solo or whatever. And it's in a form like constructing a song where they keep laying tracks and tracks and tracks until, depending on how involved it is, maybe 8 tracks, 16. They have 32s. They even have, like 60 track recorders. But anyway, they can build it like building blocks, and it still gets back even after they have all the tracks and they have them all perfect. And many of those tracks, it takes 10, maybe 15 tries to get just that exact thing that they wanted. But it gets down to the final thing, which is a mix. And today, everything is mixed either like quad, 4-channel, 2-channel, and it gets it depends on the producer. All right, he is in charge. You have an engineer, which actually does the physical mixing, but the producer determines exactly how loud the lyrics are in relation to the music. And sometimes after you hear a song over and over and over and over and over again, which the producer does, he knows the words,
Right.
He even if he didn't hear them, he would know the words,
Yeah.
So I think sometimes he forgets that other people have never had the opportunity of hearing what's called a rough mix, which is the lyric is way up front and the background is way down, and you're just listening to the correctness of the lead vocalist, say. All right. They haven't had that opportunity to hear it in the clear as it was and know what the words are supposed to be. So then when the mix comes, he doesn't want to leave the lead vocal, what's called naked, or way up above the background. The background instrumentation is supposed to give body to the lead vocalist, to give the lead vocalist more strength and to emphasize what the lead vocal is doing, And so when he mixes it down, I think the tendency is to bury it.
Drown it.
Yeah, trying to get that background up enough to give the lead vocal body and additional punch.
Right.
So I think that may be part of the problem that we're having today. And there's another thing too, and that is when you take a stereo mix and you come down, like dub it down to mono, or you're listening on a mono phonograph, when the two stereo channels combine, a phenomena occurs which is called additive effect, and that is that, in stereo, the left and the right are one thing. When you combine them together monorally, some of the things will add, and others won't. And if your background adds and your lead vocal doesn't, then again you have that thing of the lead vocal is buried back down, under. So I think that's part of the problem that we're having today in not being able to understand the lead vocal.
Yeah, I think another thing too probably is they're so interested, maybe not in this particular song, but in creating new musical effects, using different instruments, different ways that they've never been used before, that they don't really care that much about the words.
Right, and also that in some cases lyrics are used only almost like an instrument.
Right.
That it is you play the lead vocal just like you would a guitar. That it's there not necessarily for the words, but just for the effect of the vocal. I think Janis Joplin did a lot of that, to where it wasn't what she was saying, but how she was saying it that made the song. Susie, thanks for calling. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We have been searching for a particular recorded song by Helen Reddy called Angie Baby. This is back into our thing of talking about music, and lyrics of music. And I want you to listen now, people, to the words of this song very closely now. And I'd like for you to give me your interpretation of what the song's all about, okay?
You live your life in the songs you hear on the rock and roll radio.
discussing music. This afternoon on the Jim Ferguson Show, Barb, you were talking about Helen Reddy's Angie Baby.
Yes. Well, I tell you, I just feel like she spells out pretty clearly in the record that this gal has an emotional disorder. You know, the folks say to take her out of school, and she starts to live in a fantasy world, where she imagines everything. Well, then in the second part of the record, I think you can understand it fairly well. But then, when the neighborhood boy enters into it, to me, at that point, it becomes sort of a science fiction type of thing. You know, because it comes out in the headlines of the paper, boy disappears, you know, no trace of him, what have you. It's sort of like the electronic waves have absorbed him, you know.
Or perhaps she ceased living in a fantasy world and really did him in.
Well, now that's true, but it says that she has this radio by her side and someone who satisfies her whenever she wants. I don't.
Maybe the boy's in her closet or something.
Well, I just think he's electronically absorbed, and upon demand, she can just call him forth, you know.
I see. That's an interesting concept.
Well, just a thought, you know.
Always keep your eyes open. You never know where your next show might come from. Bill Britton was a fellow announcer I worked with at WHAS. He normally was a very serious, reserved type, not one I would think of first off to do comedy radio. But he knew about my Sunday show and had heard some of my comedy stuff and wanted to give it a try. I think he felt personally challenged, and I was going to help him meet his challenge head on. All right, Bill, the subject is politics. Roll tape.
How did you really get interested in politics and being a politician? Was that always your...
Actually, I was only the outskirts of politics.
Outskirts?
A small town just north of Philadelphia. My father, my great-grandfather, in fact, was involved in politics. He was not a politician. As I said, he was on the outskirts of politics, the kind of a nebulous
one of the lesser political jobs.
It was. The man had great character.
What exactly was his job, sir?
Well, actually, he could be bought.
How would you compare politics today with politics of yesteryear? Is it similar in operation, or is it different?
I think today we have, there is more glibness.
Meaning
there is more. There is
honesty?
more. No, there is more glibness. This has nothing to do with honesty. Of course, you can get an honest approach to glibness, but glibness in itself is akin to charisma.
Oh, I see. So you have to have a glib charisma about you.
I would say that in retrospect, it's something like a halo.
How does the Watergate affair? How does that stack up with you as a professional politician? What do you think about that?
I'm interested in environment. Yes, we should clean up the Watergates
and the closets.
The water closets.
Yes. Many a good man has gone out on that line. I haven't noticed. Are you running for office this year, sir?
I'm running what I call my silent campaign.
I see. How does that
I don't want too many people to know about this because I do have a background, in spite of the fact that I have done many things for the people who have voted for me, and they in turn have done many things for me. I remember one little check. We have checked on this many times in the past, yes.
You feel responsible to them for your campaign, your success.
I want to say at this time, I want to make this clear. I do.
Perfectly.
I want perfectly, frankly, yes. I want to make it clear that it's very difficult to be a public official. It takes intelligence. It takes a lot of hard work and intelligence, and two qualities that, well, we're working on them.
Who is your opponent in this year's election?
I have nothing to say about my opponent and his commie pals.
What about the, in it being a political year and all, what about the import excise tax and all of the, foreign affairs involving the money, the gold going in?
You heard about it. We've been trying to keep that quiet.
Well,
I do admit I have had a foreign affair from time to time, but...
No, seriously, Clyghorn.
I have a gigantic background.
You have a very large background, but you've never been elected, according to my notes. Now, if you would like to make a statement here as to what you've been elected to, I don't have it in my notes. You ran 17 times for congressman.
Actually, I have been elected from. I have been elected from many of these offices.
That's called impeachment.
There is a difference.
How much do you make in the political year that you stick aside?
I make the standard salary, but I must tell you that the greater portion of my income comes from the public addresses that I make.
I'm tours?
I'm on speaking tours, yes.
Where have you spoken recently?
I've spoken in Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. That's in Alaska, isn't it?
No, it's in Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yes, I discovered that too late to my sorrow. Had nothing to do. Didn't help my campaign at all.
What was your topic up there?
What was my topic? How cold can it get?
That was it, huh?
No, the topic was buy gold.
Buy gold?
Buy gold, yes. Gold is going up.
It's actually...
Have you been to a dentist lately? Do you know how much it costs?
No. Would you share this revelation with us? Obviously, you've spent a great deal of time.
Gold used to be we used to be on the gold standard. Do you know what we're on now?
No.
That's been my problem. I can't find out.
Have you ever thought about running for office in a foreign country?
I've got a small army that I have planned. Yes, I may very well get involved in some kind of quasi-dictatorship.
You think maybe in...
Maybe in one of the Orange Republics.
Orange
Republics, yes. You've seen the map, haven't the Atlas? It's the one that's painted orange.
Oh, yes. Certainly. That's down in South America.
Right. The orange, it's between the lemon and lime.
You have an army stashed away down there, do you?
Yes, we do. We do have a little, several tanks and some strychnine.
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 What
is that?
I think that's almost the way most politicians feel about you. But obviously, they don't know the real Clyghorn.
The real me. Actually, I'm a very secretive person.
Well, I imagine it would take a rather secretive person to stash away an army in South America and no one know about it. What other ways does your personality show itself as being secretive?
The fact that I have not advertised that I'm a candidate for office.
Well, I must admit that's a rather... we found you in the Yellow Pages. That's not very much of a campaign. It was somewhat just below dial-a-prayer. It was Clyghorn for senator. You have that painted on your door, I see here, also, Clyghorn for senator. But is that really the extent of your campaign? You're just spotting the Yellow Pages and Clyghorn for senator on the door there?
I don't go into these things with any serious intent. With me, it's pure, it's acting, that's all. It's just an act.
Acting?
Yes, it's acting. I have a great Shakespearean repertoire.
Uh-huh. And rather than going into the movies, you thought you might go into something that would give you more exposure.
Shakespeare is not too big on film.
Well, Clyghorn, following your defeat for senator this year, where do you intend on going?
My good man, I don't know. What do you mean now, my defeat? The campaign is still in its infancy. I have so many things that I can tell the people. There are things that they haven't heard yet.
Right, Clyghorn.
That I tend to tell them.
You've run 37 times now for this same office, and you've been defeated. I was just sort of maybe jumping to a premature conclusion about this season's campaign.
36 is nothing. Now, 44 is not bad.
Now, really, let's get down to the brass tacks of the reason that we're here, Clyghorn. There's been an accusation recently during this political season that when you campaign, you amass tremendous millions. That's what it said here, tremendous millions. But you don't campaign
with these tremendous millions? Where the question is, where do these tremendous millions that you amassed during your campaign go to? Since you're never elected, you never campaign.
You want to know where the tremendous millions go?
The tremendous millions, I'd like to know where they go, yes.
To a Swiss bank account.
Well, I think the question here, then, would be, do you feel this is ethical?
Of course it's ethical. What do you think I'm doing with these millions in a Swiss bank? I'm going to buy a small country in the South Latitudes.
You're going to buy a country?
A small country in the South Latitudes.
Is this really your intention, or is this a case of frustration, having run for office so many times and not being elected? It seems to me that perhaps this might be a move in frustration.
A very shrewd observation. Yes, it is, to some extent, a mood of frustration. The fact that I have run many times for public office now, I am buying my own country. There is no doubt in my mind that if I have my own country, my own people, my own money, my own tanks, my bullets, there is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that I can be the president, a kind, benevolent president of a country.
But, Cleghorn, no one lives forever. What do you think the people will remember you as?
Okay. As I've said many times to my friends, my cronies, my close friends, the public has always been the true, actually, not the true. I've been false to the public, but only in this way. I've said many times in campaign addresses,
Senator, we're running out of time.
My campaign has been of the people, for the people, Senator, and if this doesn't work, you just buy the people.
Now convention days are over and election time is near.